Hi, this is Trent with GuitarAnimal.com, and today I'm going to go over some of the parts of the different guitars. I'm going to use a Telecaster that I have here. I'll show you these parts again on a Stratocaster, a Les Paul, an acoustic guitar, just so you kind of know what you're familiar with what I'm talking about when I'm showing you how to play things in the videos. Where is the headstock, where is the bridge, what's the neck pickup, these kind of things. So I hope you enjoy these. Okay, on this guitar, the Telecaster, this is the headstock here, this area of the guitar, and I refer to the headstock many times in the video, so that's what I'm talking about, this end of the guitar. This little guy here, this little clip that a couple of the strings go under, is called a string tree, and it's just there to increase tension on this guitar on the first two strings to get some better downward pressure on the first and second string. So that's called a string tree. This is the headstock. This area here, this little white bone section, is called the nut. I refer to that as a location as well. So it's the nut, headstock, string tree. These are the tuners here. That's how we tune the guitar. On the Telecaster, they're all on one side of the guitar. On some of the other guitars, it would be 3 on one side of the headstock and 3 on the other side of the headstock. These little metal wires that are going across are called the frets, and they're numbered 1st fret, 2nd fret, 3rd fret, and forward towards the body. On this guitar, 21 frets is the last fret that we have. And I do refer to those frets all the time. So these metal, they look like the side of a nail, and those are called frets. These dots on the fingerboard here, they're fretboard markers, marker dots, and they're really there to help us find our way around. The funny thing is, the player, we don't really see the face dots on the top. We actually see the side dots on the side of the neck, and they match the ones on the fingerboard, but that's what we can see in our field of vision is the side. They're at the 3, the 5th fret, 7th fret, 9th fret, and then at the 12th fret. In the second octave here, because the neck starts over again at the 12th fret, the open note is E on the first string, E on the 12th fret, and then the 3rd fret here, which is G, matches the 15th fret up here, which is also G 1 octave higher. The 5th fret is equal to the 17th fret, the 7th fret is equal to the 19th fret, and the 9th fret is equal to the 21st fret. So that's just to orientate where am I on the fingerboard. If it says play the 5th fret, I don't have to count. I can just see it by the marker dots. Again, I'm looking at the side marker dots when I'm playing. All right, down here on this end of the guitar, this is the bridge, and we refer to that the bridge end. And these here are called the saddles. Now on the Telecaster I'm holding, there are 3 separate saddles, and I'll show you these on several different guitars, and you can see what those look like. But this end where the strings terminate down into the body, those are called the saddles. We use that for intonation adjustment, and that's to make sure that the guitar plays in tune. We change the individual length of each string. I'm going to have a separate video on intonation and tell you how that works. But for now, you just need to know that these are supposed to be staggered. Some of my students have changed their strings and said, oh, these are crooked, and they lined them all up straight. You don't want to do that. So leave them the way they are. They're supposed to be staggered like that. String numbers, 1st string is towards the floor, it's the thin string. 6th string towards the ceiling, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we have pickups here. These are the devices that actually pick up the sound. On a Telecaster, I have 2 of them. On a Stratocaster, I would have an extra one in the middle. On a Les Paul, I would just have 2. And we'll talk about how the switch works and everything later. This particular guitar is wired differently. This Telecaster, the selector switch is back here. Normally it would be up here. They just switched the panel around. They made this the volume control, and it's just easier to get to the volume control. So that's why they did that. It's a modification you can do to your Telecaster, but you cannot just pull it out and flip it because you end up with your volume control in the middle, and that's probably not where you want it. You don't need to, unless you want to do quick changes on your tone control, you probably want to have that rewired. All right, and that's pretty much it on this Telecaster. I'm going to pick up a Strat. I'm going to pick up a Les Paul just to show you the locations of some things that are different. All right, this is a Les Paul, and we're identifying some parts on the Les Paul. I just wanted to show you these on several different guitars. I initially showed you on a Telecaster. Some of these things look a little bit different. For example, the headstock up here on my Les Paul, the tuners, there's 3 on each side of the headstock. There is no string tree. The reason for that is the Les Paul headstock tilts back. And because it tilts back, there's no need for a string tree, so you won't find one on this type of guitar. This is the nut. The white part looks a little bit different than on the Telecaster, but it's still called the nut. Fretboard markers look different on this guitar. They're block inlays, but they're still at the same locations: 3, 5, 7, 9, 12, 15, 17, 19, and 21. There are 22 frets on this guitar here. Still have side marker dots, and that's what I look at when I'm playing. We don't really see, the player doesn't see the fretboard markers on the face of the fingerboard. All right, other than that, the frets, first fret, second fret, and so forth, they look pretty much the same as they did. The fingerboard is brown. It's because this is rosewood, and the other fingerboard I had was maple, just a different type of wood to construct the guitar with. It looks different, sounds a little bit different, but the frets look about the same. Bridge and saddle here, we have a bridge here with the saddle pieces, 6 saddle pieces, individually adjustable. And then we have, this is called the tailpiece, and it just holds the end of the strings. This particular guitar, we don't string through the body, we just string through the tailpiece. We have volume and tone controls here, a little bit different orientation. I have a volume and a tone for each one of these pickups separately. And then we have our selector switch up here. We can have either the bridge pickup or the neck pickup or both pickups on. String numbers are the same: first string, second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth. And other than that, it looks different, it feels a little bit different. I just wanted to show you some of these parts, locations on a different guitar. So if you have a guitar like this, you're not trying to figure out where's my string tree on my Les Paul. It's just not there. All right, I'm gonna grab a Strat. All right, and here's a Stratocaster. Similar looks to the Telecaster, a little bit different shape of the headstock, but this is the headstock, 6 tuners on one side. The nut looks very similar to what was on the Telecaster. You have a string tree on this one, same function as we had on the Telecaster. Fret locations, first fret, second fret, third fret, so forth. The marker dots are identical to what was on the Telecaster, although we are looking at a rosewood fingerboard on this particular Strat. So it's at 3, 5, 7, 9, 12, 15, 17, 19, 21. Their sole purpose is to help you find your way around on the fingerboard. That's it. Side marker dots, they are here. These are a little bit harder to see because half of the dot is in the maple area, the other half's in the rosewood, and that's the way they did it back in the 60s. And this particular one is a 60s guitar, so that's why it looks that way. We have 3 pickups on this end of the guitar, and we have the neck pickup, the middle pickup, and the bridge pickup. This particular guitar, we've put a 5-way switch in it, so you can get each one of these pickups separately, or the middle and the neck, or the middle and the bridge. Adjustments on the controls here, we have a master volume control, controls all the pickups. That's standard on a Stratocaster. And we have tone controls that would control the middle pickup and the neck pickup. We don't have a tone control on the bridge, although a popular modification is to change that tone control from the middle to the bridge so we can control tone on the bridge. This is your bridge and your saddles on a Stratocaster, 6 individual saddles that are adjustable. Again, they're supposed to be staggered, and that's for intonation purposes, and check out the intonation video. I'll talk to you about how that's adjusted. And that's pretty much it on a Stratocaster. All right, now I have an acoustic in my hands. I wanted to show you these parts on an acoustic in case you're an acoustic player. This end is the headstock, 3 tuners on each side. That's fairly common for an acoustic guitar. There will be no string tree on most acoustics. Tilt back headstock on most acoustics, you don't have to have a string tree because that tilting back of the headstock holds the strings firmly into the nut. This is what the nut looks like on an acoustic. The frets are the same as on electric, first fret, second fret, third fret, and so forth. Marker dots, 3, 5, 7, 9, at 12, and then on this particular guitar, 15 and no more. Basically, you can't play up here. This is no man's land. You're on top of the guitar body. It's just too hard to fret. Usually most acoustics will join the body at the 14th fret. We do have side marker dots. Again, that's what we look at when we're playing. No controls on this particular one. We don't have any pickup built into this guitar. It's just a straight acoustic. Now let's talk a little bit about this. This is the saddle here, and this is the bridge. You'll notice saddles on acoustics are leaned to the side. They're on an angle, and that's basically to help with intonation. You can intonate an acoustic somewhat by having the saddle carved and leaned to one side or the other. It's not nearly as easily adjustable as you would on an electric guitar, but because we're playing heavier strings and we're usually playing in the first octave of the neck, just below the 12th fret, it's not as big of a problem as it would be on electric where we're playing 2 octaves. This is pretty much the 4 different types of guitars you're going to see 90% of the time: Telecaster, Les Paul, Stratocaster, or the acoustic. I hope you enjoyed the video. I've had fun showing you the parts of the guitar.